There is an old Chinese curse that says, "May you live in interesting times," and these are interesting times indeed. This video is about the rally that was supposed to happen in San Francisco yesterday, August 26th, that was cancelled by its organizers, who are moderates, not white supremacists. I mean, only 1 out of 4 of them is white, and the large protests planned against this rally that still did go on. But this video is also about the madness of our society, exacerbated by politicians and the media. What I am about to show you through juxtaposition between false statements and the truth can hardly be more stark raving mad than politicians, media, and much of the public all agreeing that 2 plus 2 equals 5, and calling anyone who points out that 2 plus 2 actually equals 4 a Nazi.
Originally, the Patriot prayer was supposed to have a permit for the Crissy Field area. The group's organizer, Joey Gibson, changed his plans, trying to get people here to Alamo Square Park for what he was calling a press conference.
All these people are saying that we're white supremacists, and it's bringing in tons of extremists, and it just seems like a huge setup.
The Patriot Prayer Group is in town, is in San Francisco, and they are looking for places to march. There are a number of protests scheduled for this weekend. Most of them are considered peaceful. Right now, police don't know where the Patriot Prayer or any extremist groups might show up, so they're keeping a close eye on all of those protests, including one that is scheduled for Berkeley on Sunday.
The following interview took place before the event, before it was cancelled.
As a peaceful, family-friendly unity rally.
Police detain a woman who charged through one of the police lines.
Peacefully standing! And it feels more like a street festival than it does a counter-protest. As a peaceful, family-friendly unity rally.
Some of them came with helmets and sticks.
Interesting because the Nazis really didn't seem to show up today.
These people are saying that we're white supremacists. No! And it's bringing in tons of extremists.
Some of them came with helmets and sticks.
And it just seems like a huge setup.
So, you know, many of us were prepared to show them they weren't welcome, and I guess they got that message in advance and were afraid to show their faces.
It's hard to wrap my head around how people don't realize how insane of a situation we have with these rallies right now. We have mayors, Nancy Pelosi, mayors of San Francisco, of Berkeley, etc., saying things that are the exact opposite of the truth in many cases. I mean, just wait till you see what's coming up in this video, folks. We have, for example, a mayor calling a group that is actually moderate, that wants to hold a rally for peace, for freedom, that has zero record of hate speech or racism or far right or whatever. The people involved in organizing this, one is white, the other 3 aren't. And you have Antifa, who routinely shows up to commit violence at rallies, free speech rallies, against moderate people. And yes, okay, a few times they've actually gone up against actual racists in America, but for the most part they don't. And that's what they routinely do, is cause violence. And you have the mayor saying the exact opposite. That the group that Antifa wants to wage violence against routinely commits violence and engages in hate speech and etc. It's the exact opposite of the truth. Same thing happened in Boston a week ago. You have about 25 people, ethnically diverse, and they're in a little gazebo in Boston surrounded by barriers and the police, and anywhere from 20 to 50,000 people. And it was reported as if they were there to protest a white nationalist neo-Nazi rally. As if there were a bunch of neo-Nazi skinheads standing there, rather than an ethnically diverse group of people who were anything but extremist. This is absolutely insane. And it's amazing. It's by the way, I've been proving in my videos lately, the media is going right along with it, calling it everything from far right to white nationalists to white supremacists. And this includes, and this boggles my mind, even Breitbart. These are insane times right now. We have a situation where the emperor clearly wears no clothes, but everybody's talking about his clothes as if they exist. And here we are, the little guy, just like the kid in the story, pointing to the emperor saying, but he wears no clothes. And then all of a sudden, oh, you're a Nazi too! These are insane freaking times. As we can prove, and as we have been proving in our videos, the news lies. They lie often, and they've certainly been lying about these rallies in Boston and in San Francisco and in Berkeley. It's absolutely insane how obvious of a lie this is, and how universally it is believed. In an age of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. The following interview took place before the event, before it was canceled.
Well, it was only recently that most people here in the Bay Area had even heard of the group Patriot Prayer. The group claims to be for those who believe in love, freedom, and truth. But from San Francisco's mayor to Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, there has been strong condemnation. Joining me now is the organizer of Saturday's event. His name is Joey Gibson. And Joey, city leaders and others say that you are a white supremacist, and so are those that come to your rallies. Joey, are you a white supremacist?
Absolutely not. I'm Japanese. We're going to have we have 3 black speakers, a couple Hispanic, a Muslim, an atheist, a transsexual. We're extremely diverse. I think it's really irresponsible for the leaders to call me a white supremacist, and it's completely unfounded.
So Joey, why do people make that claim, not only against you, but those that are also part of your group?
Well, I think politicians, I don't know why she made that lie. I think she wanted the publicity. I don't know if she's trying to stir up a riot. I'm not sure why she made that claim. It's okay to make a claim that, Identity Europa has showed up in the past and we kicked him out. It's okay to make that claim, but at the end of the day, you need specific examples of why anyone would say that I'm a white supremacist, because the things that I talk about and the things that I preach has nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with what's on the inside.
Okay, so you deny that Nazis, white supremacists, white nationalists are part of your group and attend your rallies?
Absolutely. Well, it's not a group. Obviously, we have extremists once in a while that try to show up, but we do our best to tell them we don't want them there. Probably the best example I can give to liberals, there's a lot of liberals who peacefully protest all the time. I see it in Portland, and it's awesome. And then you have these anarchists or Antifa that show up and hijack their whole message and commit violence and burn things down. Those anarchists don't represent the liberals that are peacefully marching on the street. It's kind of the same thing with us. If we have 300 people marching and one white nationalist shows up, they have no right to hijack our message or what we're trying to preach. Okay,
so Joey, let's talk about your group and its mission. What are you standing up for?
We're standing up for free speech and love and freedom. We're done with the politics. I'm done trying to tell people who they should or should not vote for. We have too many people right now who believe someone is an enemy because they have a different ideological perspective, and we got to get beyond that. I believe that politicians cannot solve our problems in this culture right now. The biggest problem we have is a lack of respect, a lack of love. We have so much hatred and so much division in this country, and if we don't handle that at a grassroots level, I do believe this country will burn.
So are you coming to San Francisco to promote conservative ideas?
No, I'm not, although there'll be, quite a few conservatives there. My main thing is freedom. So, a lot of conservatives don't like my message a lot of times because I go right, I go left. It depends on the situation. Like I'm pro-gay rights. I'm against a drug war. I'm against the Patriot Act. I don't like endless wars. And so for me, my main thing is about principle.
But Joey, critics say that this is a bait and switch messaging. You say you stand for one thing, but when it actually comes to these rallies and what you actually promote is quite another.
I would like the evidence. Give me a specific example. We can talk about it. But when people just make generalizations, they just accuse me and they don't talk about specifics. It's hard to talk about it. Just like when people say I have hate speech. Well, bring it up. Bring the example. Show me the evidence, please.
I want to pause for a minute here and point out that Joey Gibson is absolutely correct. As any professor or professional debater would tell you, one cannot be called upon to prove a negative. In other words, I can't say that you are guilty of calling people racial slurs when no one else is around. You can't disprove that. So my claim is not a reasonable one. If I accuse you of that, it is my burden of proof to come up with the evidence that you are what I accuse you of being. So Joey is completely correct on this matter. There's something called burden of proof. You can look that up. The burden of proof belongs to the person who makes the accusation, not the accused. Remember, people are innocent unless and until they are proven guilty. That's how a civil society works. Now, there is a push coming from the far left to reverse this. So, for example, the way in colleges, and I know from firsthand experience, the way that they define microaggressions is such that the person who is accused of making a microaggression is actually guilty by definition, you see, because a microaggression is that which takes place in the mind of the person who is accusing somebody else of making a microaggression. It is defined that way. See my video about it, there's a link below. And of course, the media, politicians, the establishment, people all over social media, very often these days accuse people of being Nazis, white supremacists, and so on, and nobody even bothers to try to find out if they are in the first place. They're not going by evidence, they're just accusing. And people who do that are, number one, not good people, and number two, either irrational or stupid, or both. Alright, let's move on.
Okay, well, let's listen to what Mayor Ed Lee said about you and your group and what you actually stand for.
I ask our public and our residents of San Francisco Bay Area to honor our request to not dignify people who are coming in here under the guise of patriot and prayer words to really preach violence and hatred and incite violence. That is their purpose. We know that as a fact by simply watching how they've acted in other cities.
So the mayor just said, we know this because of how they've acted in other cities. Who's they, you fucking liar? Patriot Prayer has not been violent in other cities. They've defended themselves. Antifa has been violent in other cities, a group that this man refuses to denounce. Antifa has been violent in other cities routinely. Does this mayor denounce them, even though they are there and they were actually scuffling with the police as usual? No! No. The peaceful people are the violent ones, and the violent ones are the peaceful ones. Oh, war is peace. Up is down. Your freedom of speech is violence. My violence is freedom of speech. Insanity.
Mayor Ed Lee says he knows for a fact that this is what you're doing, and he points to other rallies. Is that true?
Absolutely not. See, if you notice, this is what politicians do. They don't give examples. They're not specific about what it is that they're talking about. And this is the issue that we have with politics these days. They just spew out a bunch of lies, deception, but they don't back it up. Okay, and it's really frustrating. And he says that we are inciting violence. Okay, here's the problem. You said that we're going to have a white supremacist rally. That's a complete lie. That is you. That is the mayor inciting violence. That is Nancy Pelosi inciting violence. Okay, we're going to go down there and we're going to promote everything we can to be peaceful. But I'm asking on the mayor and Nancy Pelosi and these other politicians, why don't you speak out against Antifa? These guys are going to show up with 1,000 people dressed in all black, and they promote violence. They promote hate. Okay, I don't, but I don't hear them speaking out against Antifa. So if he's truly against violence and he doesn't want hate, then he needs to show that and speak out against Antifa.
So what do you hope to accomplish by holding this rally specifically in San Francisco?
Well, actually, one goal that we're hoping to get is we get a bunch of liberals in there, a bunch of people who come to protest, who aren't there to spew out hate, hopefully to get them in there and to hear our message.
It really is somewhat out of an Orwell book. I mean, really is as if people are saying 2 + 2 = 5 and everybody's agreeing. And if somebody points out, well, no, it's not, then they are just attacked until people just go along with it. No matter how many times you say that non-racist, non-white people are white supremacists, they will not become white supremacists. No matter how many times you say that 2 + 2 = 5, it will never be 5. It's stark raving madness. It really is stark raving madness. Politicians, either actively or passively, covering up for the actual violent extremists, while pointing the finger at people who are nothing but and calling them violent extremists. Wow.